Hello and welcome to Learn English with Podcast, a program designed for slow, clear, and structured language practice. This is a calm and straightforward environment for learners at A2 and B1 level who want to speak more naturally and understand spoken English more easily. The format follows a steady progression, guiding listeners step by step through listening and shadowing exercises that support the development of practical speaking skills. Each segment is delivered at a comfortable pace to support comprehension and repetition. Perfect grammar and accent are not required for participation. The focus is on listening, repeating, and maintaining consistent practice. The session trains listening, pronunciation, and confidence at the same time. Take a moment to settle in and prepare to begin the practice. Listening practice plays a central role in language development. Many learners attempt to speak before they have listened extensively. They often try to construct sentences internally, translate from another language, and then produce speech. This process can slow communication and create unnecessary tension. Regular listening allows the brain to become familiar with sound patterns, rhythm, and sentence structure. Comprehension improves gradually, and speech becomes more natural over time. Listening can be understood as a long-term process that builds language ability through repetition and exposure. Even a short daily session can produce measurable improvement. The following exercises focus on simple listening practice designed to increase comfort with spoken English. Complete understanding of every word is not required. The primary goal is to remain attentive to the sound and flow of the language and repeat when ready. The first exercise uses basic shadowing. A sentence is presented and then repeated. The objective is to match pace and rhythm as closely as possible. This may feel unfamiliar at first. That response is typical and does not indicate a problem. The focus remains on following the sound. I am learning English every day. Repeat. I am learning English every day. I speak slowly and clearly. Repeat. I speak slowly and clearly. I am improving step by step. Repeat. I am improving step by step. Shadowing involves listening and repeating without pausing to translate. The listener copies the sound directly. This approach supports coordination between listening and speech production. It contributes to fluency and improves confidence by making spoken language feel more automatic. The next section introduces a short daily conversation. The setting is a typical morning routine. Good morning. How are you today? I'm good, thank you. I feel a little sleepy, but I'm ready for the day. What are you doing this morning? I'm making breakfast and listening to a podcast. That sounds nice. What do you usually eat for breakfast? I usually eat toast and drink coffee. Sometimes I eat fruit. That's a good start to the day. Yes, it helps me feel awake and focused. Selected sentences are repeated for practice. I feel a little sleepy. Repeat. I feel a little sleepy. I'm making breakfast. Repeat. I'm making breakfast. It helps me feel awake. Repeat. It helps me feel awake. The repetition reinforces familiarity with common expressions and daily vocabulary. The practice continues with listening and shadowing in another routine situation. The emphasis remains on calm pacing and steady repetition. English learning is treated as a daily habit rather than a timed task. Regular exposure supports gradual improvement. Consider a short exchange about the start of a day. Hi, how was your morning? It was good. I woke up early and went for a short walk. That's great. Did you have breakfast? Yes, I had eggs and tea. Now I'm ready to start my day. Repeat selected phrases. I woke up early. Repeat. I woke up early. I went for a short walk. Repeat. I went for a short walk. Now I'm ready to start my day. Repeat. Now I'm ready to start my day. These repetitions build familiarity with common sentence structures used in everyday conversation. Shadowing remains a central technique throughout the program. The method involves listening and repeating either simultaneously or immediately afterward. Translation and detailed analysis are minimized during the exercise. The focus is on sound and rhythm. At A2 and B1 level, shadowing supports pronunciation development and improves understanding of natural speech patterns. It also helps reduce hesitation when speaking. A short daily session of shadowing can produce consistent progress. Audio sources may include podcasts, short recordings, or simple dialogues. The process is repeated over time. Gradual improvement in clarity and ease of speaking is expected. The next section introduces short descriptive practice. The example describes a typical day. Today is a busy day for me. I have work in the morning and a meeting in the afternoon. After work, I want to relax and watch a movie. I also want to practice English for 10 minutes. Repeat selected sentences. Today is a busy day. Repeat. Today is a busy day. I have a meeting in the afternoon. Repeat. I have a meeting in the afternoon. I want to relax. Repeat. I want to relax. I want to practice English. Repeat. I want to practice English. Describing daily routines provides useful speaking practice because the vocabulary is familiar and immediately applicable. Another brief conversation follows, said in the evening. Hi, how was your day? It was good, but a little busy. I had a lot of work. I understand. Did you have time to rest? Yes, I took a short break and drank some tea. That's nice. What are you doing now? I'm listening to an English podcast and relaxing. That sounds like a good evening. Yes, it helps me feel calm and focused. Repeat selected phrases. I had a lot of work. Repeat. I had a lot of work. I took a short break. Repeat. I took a short break. I'm listening to an English podcast. Repeat. I'm listening to an English podcast. It helps me feel calm. Repeat. It helps me feel calm. The repetition reinforces patterns used in everyday conversation. Thinking in English is introduced as an additional habit. Throughout the day, simple internal sentences can be formed in English. When waking up, a learner may think, "It's morning. I feel sleepy. I need coffee." When going outside, "The weather is nice. I see people. I'm going to work." These short internal statements strengthen direct connections between thought and language. Over time, this reduces reliance on translation and supports faster spoken responses. Another listening and shadowing exercise follows. I am practicing English because I want to speak confidently. I know it takes time, but I am patient. Every day, I listen, repeat, and learn something new. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. Repeat selected sentences. I want to speak confidently. Repeat. I want to speak confidently. I am patient. Repeat. I am patient. Every day I listen and repeat. Repeat. Every day I listen and repeat. I keep going. Repeat. I keep going. Consistent repetition strengthens familiarity with sentence patterns and supports steady improvement. A short narrative provides additional listening practice. Anna is learning English. She listens to a podcast every morning. She walks to work and listens for 10 minutes. At first, she understands only a little. She continues listening each day and repeats the sentences she hears. After several weeks, her confidence increases. She understands more and speaks more easily. She observes clear progress. Repeat selected sentences. Anna is learning English. Repeat. Anna is learning English. She listens every morning. Repeat. She listens every morning. She feels more confident. Repeat. She feels more confident. She sees progress. Repeat. She sees progress. Short narratives provide context while maintaining simple vocabulary and structure. Goal-focused practice follows. I want to improve my English step by step. I want to speak more clearly and understand more easily. Practice is the key. I will listen every day and speak a little every day. I believe in my progress. Repeat selected sentences. I want to improve my English. Repeat. I want to improve my English. Practice is the key. Repeat. Practice is the key. I will listen every day. Repeat. I will listen every day. I believe in my progress. Repeat. I believe in my progress. These statements reinforce consistent effort and structured practice. The final conversation involves meeting a new person. Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Where are you from? I'm from India. And you? I'm from Spain. Do you like learning English? Yes, I do. It's challenging but interesting. I agree. I like listening to podcasts and watching videos. Me too. It helps me understand more. Repeat selected phrases. Nice to meet you. Repeat. Nice to meet you. It's challenging but interesting. Repeat. It's challenging but interesting. I like listening to podcasts. Repeat. I like listening to podcasts. It helps me understand more. Repeat. It helps me understand more. The repetition reinforces familiar conversational exchanges. Confidence develops through regular use. Many learners hesitate because they focus on potential mistakes. Errors are a normal part of the learning process and indicate active practice. Speaking slowly and clearly allows time to form sentences and maintain accuracy. With repeated use, confidence increases and speech becomes more fluid. Language learning progresses gradually. Some sessions feel easier than others. Consistent listening and shadowing support steady improvement in comprehension and speaking ability. Even short daily practice sessions contribute to measurable progress. Continued listening, repetition, and speaking reinforce familiarity with structure and sound. The process relies on steady, repeated exposure and active participation. The practice continues with a focus on steady listening and measured repetition. Consistent exposure to clear and simple English allows patterns to become familiar. Over time, familiar patterns reduce hesitation and make it easier to respond in everyday situations. Regular listening at a comfortable speed helps the brain recognize structure and sound without strain. When listening is paired with repetition, the connection between hearing and speaking becomes stronger. This process supports gradual improvement and reinforces confidence. A steady routine is useful. Listening at the same time each day builds a reliable habit. Morning practice can set a calm tone for the day. Evening practice can help review and reinforce what has been heard. Even short sessions are effective when they are consistent. 5 or 10 minutes of focused listening and repetition is enough to create progress. The aim is not speed, but clarity and familiarity. Clear input leads to clearer output. Shadowing remains central to this method. The listener hears a sentence and repeats it without translating. This reduces the delay between thought and speech. It also supports natural rhythm. English has patterns of stress and timing that become easier to follow through repetition. When sentences are repeated at a measured pace, pronunciation improves gradually. There is no need to force accuracy. Accuracy develops through steady exposure and repetition. Consider a simple sequence for practice. Listen to a sentence. Pause briefly. Repeat the sentence with the same rhythm. Listen again. Repeat again. This cycle strengthens recognition and recall. Over time, longer phrases can be repeated with less effort. Short sentences become connected into longer ideas. The goal is to develop smooth transitions between words and phrases. Daily conversations provide practical material for listening and shadowing. These conversations often include greetings, simple questions, and common responses. Repeating them builds familiarity with everyday expressions. For example, a morning exchange may include short updates about plans or feelings. Repeating these lines helps establish a base for real interaction. The structure of simple exchanges becomes familiar through repetition. Describing daily activities is also effective. Simple statements about routine events help reinforce basic grammar and vocabulary. Statements such as preparing breakfast, commuting to work, or planning the day can be repeated at a steady pace. Over time, the speaker becomes comfortable forming similar sentences without hesitation. Familiar language becomes available more quickly. Listening practice should remain clear and controlled. Audio that is too fast can create strain. Audio that is too slow may not reflect natural rhythm. A moderate pace supports comprehension and repetition. When the pace is comfortable, the listener can focus on sound and structure rather than speed. This helps maintain accuracy and reduces frustration. Consistency is more important than intensity. Short, regular sessions create stronger habits than long, irregular sessions. A daily routine supports retention. The brain becomes accustomed to hearing English regularly. Familiarity with sound patterns leads to improved understanding. Improved understanding leads to more confident speech. A practical approach includes several steps. First, listen to a short passage without repeating. This allows the listener to hear the overall rhythm and tone. Next, listen again and repeat each sentence. The focus should remain on clarity rather than speed. After repeating, listen once more to confirm accuracy. This sequence supports gradual improvement. It is useful to repeat key phrases multiple times. Repetition strengthens memory and supports pronunciation. When a phrase feels difficult, it can be repeated slowly. Gradual repetition allows the speaker to adjust rhythm and sound. Over time, difficult phrases become easier. The aim is steady progress rather than immediate perfection. Thinking in English can support speaking fluency. Simple thoughts during daily activities can be expressed in English. These thoughts do not need to be complex. Short statements about the environment, tasks, or feelings are sufficient. This practice reduces the habit of translating from another language. Direct thinking in English strengthens connection to the language. Short narratives can also support listening practice. A brief description of a daily routine provides clear and structured language. Listening to a short narrative and repeating selected lines helps reinforce comprehension. The listener can repeat sentences that describe actions, plans, or reflections. This repetition supports memory and builds familiarity with structure. Pronunciation improves through repeated exposure to clear models. Listening to consistent pronunciation helps establish a reference. Repeating the same sounds builds muscle memory. Over time, pronunciation becomes more natural. There is no need to focus on accent. Clarity is more important than imitation of a specific style. Clear speech supports effective communication. Pauses between sentences should be brief and purposeful. A short pause allows the listener to prepare for repetition. Long pauses can interrupt rhythm. Maintaining a steady flow supports continuity. The aim is to keep the listening and repetition cycle smooth and consistent. Smooth repetition strengthens fluency. Confidence develops gradually. Each completed session contributes to improvement. Even small gains accumulate over time. Recognizing progress supports motivation. When familiar phrases become easier to repeat, confidence increases. This encourages continued practice. Continued practice reinforces improvement. Listening materials should remain appropriate for the learner's level. Language that is too complex can create frustration. Language that is too simple may not provide enough challenge. Balanced material supports growth. A moderate level of difficulty encourages attention without causing strain. Repetition at this level builds competence. It is useful to revisit familiar material. Repeating the same passage on different days strengthens memory. Familiar sentences become easier with each repetition. This allows attention to shift from understanding to pronunciation and rhythm. Revisiting material also reinforces vocabulary. Repeated exposure supports retention. Daily conversations often follow predictable patterns. These patterns can be practiced through repetition. Common exchanges include greetings, questions about plans, and brief updates. Repeating these exchanges builds familiarity with structure. Familiar structure supports spontaneous speech in real situations. A calm environment supports effective practice. Reducing distractions allows full attention on sound and rhythm. Focused listening improves comprehension. Focused repetition improves pronunciation. Even a short session in a quiet setting can be effective. The aim is clarity and concentration rather than duration. Breathing and posture can influence speech. Sitting upright supports clear breathing. Clear breathing supports steady speech. Speaking at a relaxed pace allows accurate pronunciation. There is no need to rush. A steady pace supports clarity and confidence. Gradual progression is important. Starting with short sentences allows the listener to build confidence. As familiarity grows, longer sentences can be added. Longer passages can be repeated in sections. This approach prevents overload and supports steady improvement. Each step builds on the previous one. Vocabulary develops through repeated exposure. Hearing and repeating common words in context reinforces meaning. Over time, these words become easier to recall. Using them in simple sentences strengthens retention. The aim is to use vocabulary in practical contexts. Practical use supports memory. Listening and speaking should remain connected. Listening without speaking limits progress. Speaking without listening reduces accuracy. Combining both creates balance. The listener hears a model and repeats it. This cycle strengthens comprehension and production simultaneously. Balanced practice leads to steady improvement. Short reflections at the end of each session can reinforce learning. The learner may repeat a few key sentences. These sentences can summarize the practice. Repeating them reinforces memory. It also provides a sense of completion. This supports continuity from one session to the next. Regular exposure to clear English supports long-term progress. Familiar patterns accumulate over time. As familiarity grows, hesitation decreases. Speech becomes smoother. Understanding becomes faster. Confidence develops through repeated success. Each session contributes to this process. A measured approach allows progress without pressure. There is no need to compare speed with others. Progress is individual and gradual. Consistency matters more than intensity. A steady routine supports sustainable improvement. Sustainable improvement supports lasting confidence. Listening practice can be integrated into daily activities. Short sessions can occur during quiet moments. The focus should remain on clarity and repetition. Even brief exposure contributes to familiarity. Familiarity supports comprehension. Comprehension supports speech. Repeating sentences aloud is essential. Silent repetition is less effective. Speaking aloud engages muscles and reinforces sound. This supports pronunciation and rhythm. Over time, spoken repetition becomes more natural. Natural repetition supports fluency. Accuracy improves gradually. There is no need to correct every small error immediately. Frequent repetition allows errors to adjust naturally. Clear models provide guidance. Over time, repeated exposure leads to more accurate production. The aim is steady refinement rather than immediate perfection. Maintaining a calm pace supports endurance. Rapid practice can create fatigue. A moderate pace allows sustained attention. Sustained attention supports retention. Retention supports progress. Progress reinforces motivation. Each session contributes to a larger process. Individual improvements may feel small. Over weeks and months, these improvements accumulate. Accumulated progress leads to noticeable change. Noticeable change supports confidence. Confidence supports continued practice. The practice continues in the same structured way. Listen carefully, repeat clearly, maintain a steady rhythm. Focus on clarity and familiarity. Over time, this routine supports natural speech and confident listening. Confidence develops through regular use. Many learners hesitate because they focus on potential mistakes. Errors are a normal part of the learning process and indicate active practice. Speaking slowly and clearly allows time to form sentences and maintain accuracy. With repeated use, confidence increases and speech becomes more fluid. Language learning progresses gradually. Some sessions feel easier than others. Consistent listening and shadowing support steady improvement in comprehension and speaking ability. Even short daily practice sessions contribute to measurable progress. Continued listening, repetition, and speaking reinforce familiarity with structure and sound. The process relies on steady, repeated exposure and active participation.